Hi, and welcome to the weekly show this week, coming live from New York and Austin, Texas. Whether you're watching us live or on demand, thanks for tuning in. This week, we're all about taking the mystery out of choosing SpotMe. And my guest this week is Luke O'Neill, a linchpin of our sales team, and he's more than qualified to answer my questions, but also yours. So think of your questions, think about what you want to know about SpotMe, and ask us anything you like. But before we get there, we have an announcement. So available now, we talked about it last week, is live interpretation for your events, conferences. It's available now. Go to the SpotMe website for more details. You can see the link there, spotme.com, event interpretation. If you head to the blog as well, it's the latest blog post. And we're delighted to announce this is coming through a partnership with Interprify, another Swiss company, so you can be assured of the excellence and quality. Now, a few things to note about this. Initially, it's available live interpretation in 10 languages. We've got Arabic, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. So those 10 languages are available immediately. Everything is organized through SpotMe, your account manager. So get in contact with your account manager. If you're still in the sales process, ask the questions of your SpotMe representative, and they can help out as well. Everything's handled through us, and it's provided through our partner seamlessly, through our partner Interprify. Now, listen, it's live interpretation, right? And so you need to leave a little bit of time for us to sort out the correct interpreter for your live presentations. It's only available live. It's not available then on demand. It is a paid add-on available to VX Premium and Anywhere customers. And you have to choose the SpotMe streaming service. And the reason for this is pretty simple, because it's available in our player, right? We've integrated with the Interprify solution in our live stream player. So it has to be the SpotMe streaming. So what I would like to do is actually show you what this looks like. And so what I'm going to do is, first of all, create the actual, set it up in the back end. And for this, I'm using a workspace that isn't the weekly show, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what I first want to do is head to the marketplace, and I want to check that my live streaming module is in fact installed. It should be. If you're doing a virtual event, it should be installed, but worth checking. And if it isn't, it's an easy process to install that. Then I want to head to the live tab here. And what I want to do is click on live streams. And in the past, I've shown you how to set these up. Super simple. Click a live stream. I'm going to go test for the weekly show 2. I'm going to set a date. I want it to be next week, 10:03 a.m. Remember, choose the SpotMe streaming, because that's the only way you get the option. You can't do any of these things in a third-party provider because we don't control the player, okay? So I'm choosing SpotMe streaming. I'm choosing claps, who's watching, Q&A. I'll allow anonymous questions and live interpretation. Now, here's the critical part. You're going to want to enter in a project ID that you'll get through your account manager by the Interprify team. And once you have that, you click save, and you're all ready to go. You'll, of course, want to link it to a session on the agenda, but in terms of setting up the live interpretation, you're all sorted. Now, the question then remains, what does this look like from an audience perspective? Well, let me show you. And in fact, if you've already figured it out, we're actually live on this show with a demo. So what you need to do is click on the bottom right-hand corner. There's like a little globe in that black bar at the bottom, and you should be able to click on that. What happens is a little screen pops up, and it may take a while to load. It's an Interprify widget that we've added, and your audience will see as well. But what you can do then is select the language that you want. Now, I will warn you, this is not live interpretation of what I'm saying. This is just a demo, right? So If you speak these languages, please don't be offended. It's just a demo, just for these purposes. So I click on a language, and then it connects me to that. I'm going to disconnect because you can hear that coming through as well. But you just simply press connect. Then what you want to do is you don't want this box following you around. So just click on the 3 lines in the top right of this pop-up box, and it shrinks again, but you can still listen and watch. And it's as simple as that. That's how your audience chooses their language. So it's really simple, not only to set up, but also for your audience. It's seamless. It's in the SpotMe player. It's available now. So speak to your account team or your SpotMe representative. I'm just seeing if there's any questions. If you have any questions on that, please send them in, and we can take care of those. Now, on to the topic of the week. As mentioned, my guest is a linchpin of the US sales team. So he is more than qualified. He gets a lot of questions every day from all over the globe, primarily in the US. And he's more than qualified to help us answer some of these common questions today. And also whatever questions you have, right? So get thinking about whatever questions you have. This is your chance to put my guest on the spot. So I'd like to welcome Luke O'Neill to the weekly show. Welcome, Luke.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me. Good to see the interpretation feature. I'm not sure if that was set up to launch this week, with both of you having you and I having accents. So, if that was a bit of a joke there, I get
it. I didn't think about that, but I guess you're interpreting live Australian, and I'll do the English. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Listen, one of the most common questions I get asked, and I know you do all the time, is how is SpotMe different? What makes us different to the plethora of tools out there? Because let's be honest, there are a lot of tools out there. So how is SpotMe doing things different? Why should people choose us?
Yeah, and it's a good question, and usually I'll answer it. The question will come from different angles. Like I might be talking to a marketing person or an event planning person. I'll give them different answers because they're looking for different things. But so sometimes one thing that I really always mention is our analytics. That definitely sets us apart from people. Yes. We get very granular, and previously you've had access to some of this data in the past, but you now in the virtual world you're capturing so much of it, and it just means that you're allowed to sort of see that in real time before the event, after the event. So definitely we can get very granular there as well. So the other thing I hear a lot about is, that people like our social feed style. It's, it sort of looks like, what you'd normally see on a social media page with the feed flowing through. And the audience, why I really encourage that is the audience, they know it. It's second nature to them. They've used a Facebook or a LinkedIn style. So once they land in, it really opens up that sense of community as soon as they're in, right? So definitely something that sets us apart there. I know, like when I'm talking to the more marketing people, this is more your crowd, Tom. The hyper personalization. Like maybe this is something for you there, but that's something that I hear a lot of people wanting to know. We're not doing a cookie cutter model. We're really trying to make a bespoke, tailored solution for you.
Yeah, that's really true. I'm going to hit on all 3 of those points because I hear them, and when I have discussions with people as well, they always come up, right? The analytics. I am like constantly surprised that other platforms don't have the level of analytics. People ask me, and they're like, "What's your analytics?" And I take them through it, and they're like, "Wow, we don't see this." And I'm thinking, you don't see this level of analytics? This should be standard. It's like right down to the individual level, right down to menu options, time spent here, time spent there. It's like it's incredibly deep, and it just surprises me that it's not available elsewhere. The feed is an interesting one, right? Because again, I don't see many platforms with the home feed front and center as standard like us. And it just surprises me because a big part of these events, a big part of people's lives is peer-to-peer sharing. And how else do you really get that if you're not providing them a home feed? And then hyper personalization. I know people talk about it, but you're right. From a marketing perspective, especially if I'm doing things like ABM campaigns, I really want to get down to the nitty gritty of providing people a unique experience that's relevant to them And to be able to do that from everything to menu items to content, literally everything in the platform is definitely a piece. You know, the other thing that makes us different, that resonates with people when I have these conversations, is our conversations, our chatbots, right? I don't know if you experience that, but I think a lot of people are surprised that they can take something like what Drift is doing with the conversational marketing and bring it into the SpotMe platform, like natively. You're not using Drift, you're not using Intercom. It's natively built into our platform. And I know we showed it a few weeks ago, but that's another thing that I think resonates with people. And they're like, wow, that's one less thing. It makes so much sense to have it. It works on websites so well and in support tools and back ends, but why not have it as part of your experience? So.
Exactly, yeah. And like sometimes I describe the chatbot as to people, you can use it in a few different ways, but it can just be a simple thing as like, you know, when you're at a normal conference, someone's there guiding like people around where to go. The chatbot can do that. It'll be like, what are you here to see? What are you interested in? And then it'll send you a link or say, click here to watch this. It looks like you're after that. So yeah, very helpful.
Cool. We had one question that I think makes some sense. I think it's going back a bit, but hello, this looks great. Just checking what users are available to use the live aspect. The answer is any users. Our platform is whoever you choose to let register, whoever you choose to let access. And as long as, I think you're talking about the live interpretation, as long as you're setting that up beforehand, either through our registration or someone else's, then anyone can use it. It's entirely up to you. And again, you can choose to have that on or off. There's another question that's come in that is kind of linked to my next question. So I'm gonna approve it. And the question is, what is SpotMe doing to adapt to virtual events? And I think this is kind of linked to what my next question was going to be to you, which is, okay, there's obviously the obvious things like having the live streaming natively, having the security that goes along with that. But what are some of the ways, Luke, maybe a different way of answering it, that we're helping people engage with their audiences? How have we taken what we did in the past and applied it to virtual? What are some of those things?
Yeah, and good question. And that's one I receive pretty much on every phone call. And look, I usually fire straight back that question with, what does engagement mean for you? Is it participation with your brand? Is it, you know, more sales dollars through, like it might be a user conference? So I really want to find out what that person's trying to achieve with their engagement. Is it making more money? Is it training people up? So, you know, and then once I find that out, then I'll sort of go into a way. So it's like, if you're looking for more sales through the door, we'll give you a trackable clicks metric, find out who's been into what areas, and so your salespeople can go and contact them, you know what I mean? And then there's other things I really like. Something that was, you know, reasonably popular for us in the in-person environment, but that has just gotten really popular, is our discussion boards or social feeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know what I mean? These are like rooms, like sort of like a Reddit forum or something along those lines, where people can go in, be talking about certain topics. And this really, honestly, it seems to be the way that a lot of people flow through the conference. They'll go to the sessions and then go to those feeds as well and be able to talk about certain topics. The beauty with those, again, like you mentioned, hyper-personalization, you can restrict who sees certain discussion topics, open them up to certain people. So really dynamic there. And then, like you touched on it before, the peer-to-peer sharing and matchmaking is great for engagement. You know, some of these people, yes, it's a user conference, but they would go in there to network. They know, you know, previously they'd be at a ballroom in Vegas. They want that coffee time or that beer time at the bar, things like that. So, you know, we can use our matchmaking. They can meet in a virtual chat room, things like that. It's really going to still give you that experience. Obviously, you can't share a beer, or you can do it virtually, but you know what I mean? It's allowing that and opening up what you had in the in-person realm.
Yeah, I like that. And we've seen it with our own team, right? And with our clients as they've kind of matured past just the initial pivot to actually hosting experiences and regular virtual events. But it is a mind shift. It's this mind shift away from in-person as one format to this need to really tailor the experience and what you're providing to a virtual audience. And there's things that we've done in the tool, right, which is like natively building the live streaming, because we know that if you have some of these features locked in natively and we can make it really simple for you, then it just takes away some of that burden that you can concentrate on some of the other things, which is like driving engagement, using discussion forums, gamification, building your chatbots, and then also, driving networking, right? It's a huge part of why people attend at events, and it's often the reason it feels like that people say, I can't wait for live events to come back. I really like that connection with people. So, like anything you can do now, and I know we've discussed it before in the weekly show, but a common theme, both networking and engagement, right? And last week was networking, and I think 3 or 4 weeks ago was engagement. But it's this common theme of, it's not just the tool. It's not just us as the SaaS vendor, technology getting ready for virtual. It's the mentality of the planning team and the event team as well, because you have to resource up. Like, it feels like, right? You hear this? Like, it feels like if you're in person, you have a whole bunch of people on the ground doing formal and informal things to interact with your audience. For virtual, you kind of have to keep that going. You have to have people in the discussion forums. You have to have people in the home feed posting things. You have to be there, present, starting and instigating the conversations and keep them going. So
you mentioned the word maturity. I think you said something along the lines of our clients are getting more mature, and that's also something I've seen. People who started doing events at the start of COVID with us, and maybe doing another one now. They're like, we learned a lot. We need those people, like you said. When you're in person, you've got a lot of people on the ground, so we need them virtually as well.
Cool. On the lines of engagement, there's a question come through, and it's around when booking meetings between users in the platform. This is from Maria. Thanks, Maria. She hasn't worked out a way to actually host the meeting in the platform unless it's pre-scheduled by the organizer. Is SpotMe going to develop a way for users to schedule and host one-on-one video meetings on the go? Do you want me to answer? I'll go.
You can go for it if you want.
Yeah. So the answer right now is that everything needs to be prearranged on the agenda and sorted out. Now, when you do have the option, for instance, within sponsor booths, to have that open invitation for people to connect, that you can do those meetings there. But otherwise, it is a good idea to prearrange. Luke, anything to add to that?
Yeah, prearranging is the good way to do it, because we can capture a lot of data from that reg data if you come in flowing through. So you are able to organize that a little bit better. It is, I know that's something that's on the roadmap for our team. I'm not saying it's going to happen today or next week, but it is something we're getting asked a lot for. So that, little sneak peek that could be coming soon, but I can't give you an exact date on that.
Yeah, good answer. So just to recap, you can pre-schedule that, like you identified, Maria. You can, I think, right, Luke, I'm correct in saying you can set it up where you could have like an open forum where people can connect in and out of. But what you can't do is have that instantaneous, I meet Luke on the platform and I want to have a video chat with him one-on-one yet. I know it's coming. Right now, I did a show with Josip, our head of product, a few weeks back. Right now, our focus is on building out our capabilities with the new SpotMe Studio. So making virtual live production super simple, all in SpotMe. That's a real key focus for us. And making the platform generally easier to use before we get on to things like one-on-one instantaneous meetings. Okay. Thank you for the question, Maria. Back on to my questions, Luke. So I know SpotMe has this policy of super transparency with its pricing, and if you actually go to the SpotMe website, everything's out there, right? We're not holding anything back. And there are two main plans on the SpotMe.com pricing page. The first one is VX, and there are different levels of that. And the second one is Anywhere, which we've just changed, and now there are different levels of that. Talk to us. How do I distinguish between the two? What does it mean in plain Aussie speak?
Yeah. So in plain Aussie speak, the VX package is for a one-off event. Someone that's they're just trying to get by one event and one and done, move on. The Anywhere plan is more of a longer term, we call them campaigns. So you can buy in bundles of, 5, 25, 75 campaigns or events. They could be known as well. But then with the Anywhere plans, these are also based on a self-service model where our customer manager, once you sign with us, our customer manager will actually then train you up on how to use it. You can actually also buy back add-on services if you need our help with certain things. But it's basically set up, and like you mentioned with the SpotMe Studio, we're trying to make it so you can successfully do it on your own, but we're happy to help you out if we can.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just to recap, VX is really for single experiences or events. And the benefit of Anywhere is you can have multiple events and experiences within that platform, like we do exactly on the weekly show, right? Every week we're live and we're providing the on-demand, but it's a whole experience built on our Anywhere platform. So it's kind of similar to the weekly show. A question's come in from Yaman. Hello, Tom and Luke. I got to find it. Hello, Tom and Luke. How is SpotMe handling events where 2 or more categories of participants, paying with extra benefits and free participants?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to? So I guess the first thing. Yeah, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we call that ticket types or registration types, and it's a very common ask. And look at it, that goes back to that hyper personalization, right? So, thanks for the question. We will flow your data across from your registration, or so we know who's a gold ticket and a free member or whatever it may be. So we can actually limit menu items, we can limit agenda items. So basically, the people that are paying the premium price, they get to see everything or unlock anything as you want. But then the people that are just doing it for free, we can restrict their access to any part of the app as well. So it's a very good question and very common. And I think it's a robust way to approach a virtual event.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, if you need to provide a different experience, you can target them and personalize it, right, as we discussed. To your point, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing I noticed, I had an event which was like that, I think last week or the week before. And basically it was, they had the gold ticket and they were trying to sell the gold package to the free people during the event. So we'd pop up a notification saying, click here to upgrade your membership and see this cool session, later in the week, or, look at what you're missing out on, click here. So it's a really good way if you're looking to drive some revenue mid-conference where people upgrade. It's also very versatile in our system to do that. It's going to flow straight into it.
Yeah, and I was going to add that you don't even need to think about it like paid and free, right? You can think about it like different segments of your audience that might be just interested in different topics. You can think about it like VIP versus day-to-day technical users. There's a whole host of ways you can segment your audience, but you can essentially provide them different menu items, different questions, feedbacks, chatbots, different agenda sessions. The world's your oyster. Creativity is your only limitation, to be perfectly honest. It's a great
about that.
It's a great question. It's a great question. Let me go back to my list. So you hinted about registration, and one of the questions we often get asked is, can we pre-populate our platform with information? And so how do you answer that, Luke?
Yeah, so pretty much similar answer to what we were just talking about. Based on the registration data, like you mentioned, you might have the sales team, the operations team, and the VIPs or the execs, and each of those tracks needs to see something different. So there would just be an extra field in the registration data that we would pull across. And so we know when we get in, Tom's part of the marketing team, let's say, he only sees the things that the marketing team are supposed to see. The beauty with this, though, once we have all that registration, and I encourage our clients to give us so much from registration, because if you're trying to do something on the fly, or, like say it's a 3-day conference and on day 3 you saw that a session on day 1 went really well, you want to do another one, you can add that in and say it's just for the marketing people. What you would do is ping out a notification saying, hey, marketing people, click here, we've added another session on Friday for you. You can do things like that. So it allows you yourself to be a lot more flexible and not as rigid. With the virtual environment, it's easy. You don't have to tell everyone to go to ballroom A if you're doing an extra session. You can say, click this button and they're there, So use that. It's not going to cost you any more money, but it'll make some money, I think.
Yeah, that makes total sense. There's a question come in from Danielle. I'm just going to read it out to you. How long are your on-demand video and session replays available for? So just a reminder before Luke answers the question, if you're doing this through the SpotMe streaming, actually it's super simple to publish on demand because you like literally, I think it's within like 5 or 10 minutes, you just hit the button on the back end and it's like publish the whole recording for you to the same session page. So super simple to do through SpotMe. How long is it available for, Luke?
Yeah, it varies, depends on what package you get. There's like our VX packages, like the VX Premium, it'll be up there for 3 months. The site will be active, but this is where our Anywhere plans are good. They are 12 months for a campaign. So say you're doing the weekly show as your campaign, you can have your videos up for 12 months. So it gives you a good amount of time.
Yeah, perfect. I'm also, Maria, thank you for participating in the discussion. Maria says, Yaman, for our 600 participant event last month, we did a load of work on targeting different features. Awesome job. And pages to different users, and it worked really well. That's great to hear. It takes some planning and sense checking, but once you get the swing of it, you can't do without it. I love that comment, Maria. I think it's a hugely powerful tool. It's all about the time you want to invest beforehand, planning it out for sure. There's another one that is come through, and it says, can the participants step up and join the event with video and voices instead of typing on Q&A? And I know that what we can have in these pre-registered sessions is two-way video. So I guess that's the answer, but Luke, elaborate. Can people step up?
Yeah, so yes and no. If you're in a keynote room with, like, let's say there's one speaker on stage and 500 people watching, the answer is no. What I've seen work as well, if people want to chat one-on-one with the speaker, video chat, we can open up another room, like a video chat room, saying, come here live and chat with the speaker now. So, that allows that sort of two-way communication that you'd be looking for there. But, I think that's the best route there.
But it's a pre-scheduled session, right? Again,
correct.
And there are limitations to how many people can be on the two-way, but it effectively is two-way, like me and you speaking now. So
correct.
That's the benefit. Cool. Just seeing if there's any more. Cool. Okay. So one final question is around hybrid.
Yeah.
We're getting a few questions every week, and people are talking about hybrid now in increasing volume. How is SpotMe able to handle this, Luke?
Yeah, it's the buzzword, right? It is.
It's
the buzzword. It's the Prius of today, I guess. But no, you're right. And look, it's how the world is going to be. Let's face it, COVID's probably changed the way we do events for a long time. So in terms of hybrid, as I'm sure some of the viewers might know, we actually started out, doing a lot of in-person events. We have been doing streaming events for a few years now as well. So, but as we're building the platform, let's say for a virtual environment, it's actually simultaneously being built as a platform on a phone or iPad device, so an app. So the audience who are live in the ballroom, let's say you're in Vegas, the audience in there, they can actually be looking at their agenda and everything on their phone, and then they can be voting or polling. All the notifications that the people at home will see pop up on their computer, they'll still pop up on the phone. The other thing, the beauty of ISA that I always tell my clients about making sure that the attendees have the app as well, is that you can sort of be in communication with them before and after the event. They'll get a push notification. It'll ping up like a text message. So I say use it. It's not going to cost you any extra money, but you can get a little bit of extra reach. So in terms of hybrid, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I love that. And back to our discussion about targeting, you can segment the whole experience by in-person versus virtual as well, which can be really useful. And
correct.
Yeah, you're right. Both audiences can then participate in the feed, which is a really common discussion forums, networking, you name it. Both have the same branded experience, but just over different devices. And there's nothing to say that your virtual or your live audience can't access the app and watch things on demand, right? Or experience things on demand. So definitely a benefit, especially if you're providing that longer term experience. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's it. I mean, it's been a roller coaster, but we have run out of time. I think that's great. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my guest this week, Luke. We put him under a bit of pressure, which I appreciate. So thank you for joining us. If there's questions we didn't get to, I will make sure that we answer them in the notes. And also, I'll either reach out to you personally, or your SpotMe representative will reach out on the sales side or on the account side to answer your questions. So thank you for everybody tuning in, live or on demand. And that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys. See you later.